This week I'm in the middle of two projects. So I have my garden project going on that I've been working on the last couple of weeks. And then also another project is my sister is having a baby in the fall. So I'm working with her to do up a bit of a nursery for her little one. So I'm kind of like, I'm not yet finished the garden. I haven't yet started the nursery, but I also like my favorite videos to watch are like the messy middle. I like the creative process. I like seeing where things were intended to go and then where they actually ended up. And I think it's just so much more human. We are just living day-to-day life, doing our best to bring our creative ideas to life. So today I have a little bit of time. My partner took our little guys out. So I have an afternoon. It's a bit of a dreary afternoon. So it's like the perfect crafting afternoon because I've been sourcing things for the DIY nursery. Like we're keeping it on a very tight budget. So a lot of thrifting, a lot of freebies, and I have ideas like formulating in my mind, but I think I've been procrastinating a little bit because I'm like, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to turn out. But again, that's kind of part of the process. I had a dream a couple of nights ago. These words show up in my dream and I wrote them down. And I don't know, maybe you're a creative person. You're likely a creative person. Creative people tend to find each other, but in creativity, you've got to let yourself fail. You've got to just go with the bad idea. You've got to let your starter ideas be good enough. You've got to just follow through. There is no destination to get to. Do you enjoy what you do? I was thinking about that. It's like, right, the whole point of creativity is taking the next step and not necessarily knowing where you're going. Like aim for it, but often you like surpass it, or often you go a completely different direction and it turns out to be so much better than the direction that you intended to go. And that's kind of how I'm feeling with all of my creativity in this current state of life. I used to be such a planner and I like a good plan. I feel very secure in a good plan, but I'm also finding this other side of me that is just wanting to play. It's like, does this bring me joy? Yes. Okay, let's do it. And then no, well then we're not going to go that way. I don't know if it's motherhood that changed me. I don't know if it's just getting to a certain point in my own creative development that's changed me. It's something to do with this YouTube. My partner had told me that I want to say maybe it was Steve Jobs, maybe it was Elon Musk. I'm not sure. I don't really follow any of that, but he was saying how they have this motto within their company, whichever one it was, where it's like failing fast, like failing forward. And that's kind of the motto I've taken into this next phase of my life. Put out the thing, let it fail, let it have the potential to fail so that you can learn a lesson. So let's just, have fun and see where it goes. The agenda today is to kind of sort out my projects and how I plan what needs to happen before I go to my sister's in 2 weeks. We're only there for 2 days and we're bringing our little guys. So it's gonna be like family focused time with a little bit of nursery. Also gonna do a maternity shoot for her. So it's not like I have the full 2 days. I need to arrive with most of the pieces prepped so that when I get there, her and I can do some final things together and then we can install it. So today is kind of like getting my brain around what projects need to happen within the next 2 weeks. Over the long weekend, we went on a really fun road trip. I was on the hunt for driftwood for a project. I want to make these sailboats, at least one sailboat for the nursery. I wanted to go to a beach that had some sentimental value to her, to my sister, because it's going in her little boy's nursery. Just to bring that element of like her childhood into her baby's nursery.
You can pick one for Mama? Oh, thank you. I love it. Interesting. Come.
when we were planning the long weekend, I was like, what I most want is just to happen upon something surprising, like a good surprise. And I was really thinking about my garden at the time, so I was like, something that feels like fun and surprising and spontaneous as it relates to the garden. So universe delivered. We happened upon these buses that were, it's called Backyard Blooms. And yeah, the owner, she basically converted 2 old buses into greenhouses, and I was just in awe. I'm like, how do you keep all these plants alive? Like, that is a craft, that is a passion. Like this is my dream. I could spend hours just looking at them and learning about them. I was really in awe of it. I find sometimes like even houseplants can be tricky. So like how is she doing this? But she was really great. She walked me through some ideas for, I told her, I was like, I want to bring in the butterflies and the hummingbirds, and I want to repel the ticks. So we settled on a phlox plant and a plant called Bright Eyes. And then for tick repelling, some mint, some lemon balm, and some lemongrass. And she had said, she's like, just a couple miles down the road, there's a backyard craft store. Unfortunately, we were on a bit of a time crunch, so we have to go back and redo that route and find that craft store, because I'm kind of intrigued by the concept of a backyard craft store. But yeah, she was really great. And then on the way home, we stopped and had a picnic with cows, like overlooking cows grazing. And there was a mom and a baby, they were nursing, and I just was like, I just kept having the thought of like, they're just like us. She's nursing her baby. A few months ago, I was nursing my baby. Like, they're no different. And so I really felt a special like connection with that cow and her baby and that moment. It was just like really special, that moment. And then, yeah, we came home, and a few days later I was out for a walk, and I happened to just feel the pull into a thrift store, and I ended up finding a piece for the nursery. Thank you. Thank you. Just popped into town, and I was just out for a walk doing errands and that kind of thing, and I popped into one of the local thrift shops. There's 2 ladies that work there. One that when you go in, you get your things for like 25 cents, and the other, she's a bit steep in comparison. Not steep at all, but I know I'm going to spend a bit more when one of them is working, and it's all fine because it all is going to a local charity. But yeah, today I was specifically looking for a canvas feeling type of fabric, like a very specific one for a DIY I'm doing for the nursery, and I found it, like the perfect fabric to work with. I think it's like a little table, not cloth, but like a mini version. I don't know, placemat maybe. And I also found a dress for my sister and a shirt for me. So it was a successful little stop. I paid like $6.50 total. Next day, there was a community sale happening. There was kid games and a barbecue. So we just went out as a family. There was a lot of great home decor and great places to find like dishes and kitchen gadgets, like things like an ice cream scoop. Like I found they had a lot of that kind of stuff. But across the way, kind of like off to the side, there was a lineup of framed art. And I was thinking like, oh, that's like the nice art over there. So I just like took a peek, and I could see there was one that really caught my eye. It had geese, 2 geese on it. And I was trying to look, and I'm like, oh, I think that's $100. And I'm like, makes sense. It's a really nice piece of art. And then I looked closer, and I was like, no, I think that's actually $11. And then I looked closer, and I was like, no, I think that's $1. It kind of looked like a 2 on it, so it could have been $2 or $1. And she's like, yep, just $1. And I was like, okay, I will take it. So yeah, I love that piece. I love how there's 2 geese in it. And geese mate for life. I was thinking about me and my partner. 2 is a very harmonious number. And I'm also just trying to bring the outside in, the natural color palette and imagery of nature. And we do have a lot of Canada geese around. So I was just like, this is perfect. And the frame itself is like art. I love how different it is. It's not something, that you see every day. So I've had a lot of compliments on it, and I had one lady, I wish I had record the moment, but she was trying to buy it off me, but like in a roundabout way. And I was just like, do you want it? Like, you can have it. She's like, no. And I was like, are you sure? Like, it was $1. Like, I could give it to you. You could give me $1. But she was like, no, you have it. So yeah, lots of compliments on it. And I'm really excited about that piece. The next day, my sister and I, we were supposed to meet up to head together to a thrift store nearby that's like well known for its crafting materials. But our schedules didn't align and it didn't end up happening. I actually ended up seeing her the next day, but I headed out to the thrift store myself. But I find thrift stores, they kind of have their personality. Like, they're not all the same. You kind of start to learn like, oh, this one is the one to go to for clothes, and this one's the one to go to for home decor, and this one's the one, in this case, to go to for crafts. So that's what I did. I had a couple projects in mind, and I was also just wanting to be inspired. It's one thing to look at Pinterest and come up with ideas, but I was like, I just want to go and look at material and texture and color and just see if it sparks anything. So I did bring my phone, and I did bring you along. The very first thing that caught my eye in the thrift shop was these, I think they were dried florals. They reminded me of fireworks, and I thought they could look really interesting in maybe like a 4th of July or Canada Day, or even like a New Year's floral arrangement. Like maybe if you spray painted them, I don't know. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I actually don't really agree with fireworks. I think they're beautiful. I think kids love them, but I really hate the impact of them on wildlife. So over the past few years, I'm like getting away from supporting fireworks. But I bring it up because I think like the material wise, it's a really good example of how you can utilize thrift stores to spark ideas. The theme we're going for is coastal adjacent. So I had like fish and sea life, marine life on my mind. And while I was looking through the stamps, they have such a great stamp collection here. I always find fun stamps. But as I was looking through the stamps, I noticed these. Are they seagulls? I wasn't sure. I was thinking, could I make that into a seagull? I also thought this book was interesting. I was just looking at these as another example of unconventional art. I think it's maybe the template or the backing of, is it for rug hooking or embroidery? I wasn't sure, but I was just thinking, while it's not going to work for this project, I just thought the idea of framing something like this that's a bit different could maybe be something to think about in the future. I did find these beads, and I have thought about a mobile and how I could maybe make a fish or something to go in the mobile. I did scrap the idea, just I had choking in mind, and I was like, no, not worth it. I do think it could have been a really cute fish though. I headed over to the book section. I was thinking it could be fun to find an old image of a ship. And in this glass jar, it reminded me of something I might find on a pirate ship, like something that would wash up on the shore. I did like this vase though. It was a lot more simple. There was a lot of shells. I don't like a fake shell. And I was hoping to find something like this owl, but marine, but no luck. And this is completely off topic, but I saw this 100% cotton nightgown, and I thought, could I make that into a shirt for summer? I left it behind because there was a stain on it, and also I just don't need another project. So yeah, while I didn't leave with too much, I did spark some ideas. So basically for the sailboat, I originally thrifted these. It was like that canvasy material, and also it had like this border on it that I thought would be really pretty. I saw a picture on Pinterest that this kind of reminded me of, but then I took them home and I just kind of placed them in the bowl, and I was like, oh, I need to go thrift myself some linens to put like just on the bowl. I don't know, there's something like really soft about it. This was another piece that I recently got at a yard sale. I was thinking like, oh, I'll just use it for decor, but like there actually seems to be a wick left. I don't know much about like an oil lamp, but my partner was saying that if we clean it up, we can probably just use it outside on our patio in the summer as like an actual lighting source at night. Like, how pretty, you know, like you can't find that at IKEA. But back to the sailboat. So I was thinking about it. They have a golden retriever, and I thrifted this fabric. I'm not sure if you can see, but there are little golden retrievers, or dogs that look like golden retrievers. Our dog isn't a golden retriever, but I was still thinking like maybe in my kids' playroom. I wasn't sure, but just thinking as I was planning out these projects, I'm like, I remembered it, and I was like, maybe I can make the sails for the sailboat out of this fabric. And if not, maybe I can make a pillow or something out of this fabric. Like it has to go in the nursery. Maybe I could use the dog fabric with the border, or even these look good together. So maybe I make a pillow from the dog fabric and I make the sailboat from this. And then I also recently got these frames at a yard sale. So I'm not sure if I want to go the white direction or the blue. I also have some other colors, but my sister likes different shades of blue. Say that a water, if you're at the beach and the water just looks like all these different shades of blue. Imagine the frame's white or like a light blue, I'm not too sure. Then using this, is it a ribbon? I also got this at the craft store, or the thrift store in the craft section. I just think that could be fun to make like a fish. Or another thought just coming to mind, like a fabric collage, using this for water and then using other fabric pieces to kind of make a coastal scene, like with a fish or a seagull. I think that could be really sweet. So those are two of the projects that I'm working on. I'm racing my camera battery here, but I'm gonna be doing a whole video on the nursery, so I'm not going to show everything here. You'll have to wait for that video. But another thing I got was this bright pink mirror. I'm going to paint this. My hope is to paint this. It just looked like rope to me, like a coastal rope. I do have to take the back out and like secure it better, but I think I could take the mirror out and like easily paint it. So I'm excited for that. And then another thing I got her just because I know her and I know she likes to do a lot of research, but the Wonder Weeks book, I didn't read it with my kids, but it goes up to 20 months. So I actually was looking at where my youngest is right now, and it's pretty bang on. There's some language in here, like there's some things that I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but I think in general to like know how a child develops, some of the leaps to expect, I think she'd really like that. So I just got her that book. It was there and I was like, oh, that looks like a book for her. I'm gonna leave you here. I hope you enjoyed this like messy middle, collecting, sourcing, being creative. Like I hope you enjoyed this video. My next video is our garden. One of my goals has been like repurposing planters. I'm making a strawberry garden out of something a bit unconventional that I'm really excited to show you. And also the frost advisories seem to be less and less these days, so I'm hoping to get my cut flower garden seeds in soon too. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, like say hello, let me know who you are, where you're from. I'm sure we have a lot in common if you found yourself here. And I will see you in the next one.